Hey you guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bass, and today we're talking about the 3 biggest mistakes that we anglers make in the early summer and what we can do to correct them. People go fishing for all sorts of different reasons. A lot of people go out on the water because they want to relax. Other people are the opposite. They go out because they're competitive and they want to get into tournaments and let that run wild. Other people are trying to get away from their problems for a little while. But the one thing that we all have in common is when we're out there, we want to catch fish. The biggest bummer is when you're out there trying to catch fish and you don't realize you're putting roadblocks in front of yourself. You're making your own fishing harder by making mistakes. And there are common threads. We all do it. We all make mistakes, and some of them are very common. So today I've identified 3 really common mistakes that are major factors this time of year. Early summer, headed into summer, based on weather, based on fish behavior. There's some things that a lot of us do, and we don't even realize, 1, that we're doing it, and 2, that there's a simple alternative. So today, I want to take those 3 mistakes head on, talk about them individually. The last one, it's geared towards everybody, but the twist on this is for the person without a boat, the person walking the bank, or the person on a small boat. You're on somebody else's boat, you have limited space, pond fishing, shore fishing, creek fishing, all that. That last one is sort of aimed at that. But let's jump into these. The first one, the biggest mistake that I'll see a lot of people make, and I'm so guilty of this because I have little kids and I'm tired, is that I only fish in the daylight hours in the summertime. I used to night fish nonstop in the summer, and anymore, I'm tired. It's hard to get me out there night fishing. So as we head into summer and those temperatures just continue to soar, there is an entire group of fish that is far more active at night than they are during the day. And that is so easy to forget. A lot of us, if you're on a lake with a lot of fishing pressure, a lot of us will go out at first light and we fish up until about 8:30, 9 in the morning, right? You start seeing the pleasure boaters showing up and you're gone. I'll just go back out tomorrow morning. You battle the pleasure boaters, and if the fishing's good, you stay out a little too long. Lake Berryessa is a place where this comes to mind, where we would go out all summer long, early morning, but if the bite was good and you stayed out a little long and you had to run the narrows after 50 wakeboard boats had showed up, you were getting beat to death to get off of the water. It's like that all over the country. So a lot of people will fish really early and then leave so that they don't have to deal with it. But we completely forget about the night bite. And the night bite is so simple. Places that have no fish on them in the daylight can be incredible at night. When somebody first goes out at night, I feel like it's overwhelming to you. So what I want you to do, if you want to give it a try, is think about the most obvious places on your lake. The places that look so good, but they never have fish on them for whatever reason. Maybe it's in a marina, so it's got boats driving over it all day long. Maybe it's just a spot that gets pounded by boat after boat throughout the day, so they're just not there. Those spots will load up at night, and the fish will go shallow. Your day fish may be from 10 to 40 foot. Your night fish might be from 1 to 3 feet. Now, they might still be out there deep, but sometimes they move right up shallow. Don't be afraid to go out there this summer and do some night fishing. 2 baits that you should focus on. 1 is a topwater. A wake bait specifically. If you've ever wanted to catch a wake bait fish, they are so easy to catch at night. Throw the wake bait and just steady retrieve. You'll get this sound out of it. Clack, 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 clack. It's unmistakable. Don't worry about like walking it, bumping it, stop and go, all the things. Don't worry about any of that. Just steady retrieve. Clack, 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 clack. Kaboosh! It is so much fun when you're out there in the dark and you can only see a little and you hear that cannonball drop. It is so much fun. It's so easy to catch fish on a big wake bait at night. This is one of our favorite ways to fish on a summer night. Now, different moon phases, fish will behave differently. So sometimes they don't want to come all the way to the surface. And this is prime time for throwing the big worms. You know, your 10, 11, 12-inch worms. As a kid growing up, that 10-inch power worm, nothing else like it. This is the time of year we're just going out and throwing that 10-inch black power worm. You might catch 2-pounders on it. You might catch the surprise 10-pounder you've been looking for your entire life. X-Zone, their 11-inch Blitzworm. Just phenomenal baits. And you don't have to throw these. It's a big worm, so you're thinking you got to throw it on like super heavy tackle, and you really don't. You know, 1/4 ounce to a 1/2 ounce weight. You can throw it on straight braid if you want to, because it is dark and you can get away with it. But if that's not what you've got, if you've got 15-pound fluoro on your rod, fine. Throw a 4/0 hook in the nose of this thing, or a 5/0 hook, and just go. You'll be surprised. At night, fish will eat much, notice the theme, much larger profiles than we are throwing in the daylight. Fish are aggressive. All of the things that make them cautious have gone away. There's no engine sound, there's no commotion, most of the fishing pressure is gone, and those fish are willing to take a shot at some really fun baits. Now, the second mistake that I see, that is that people continue to fish visual cover. Going down the bank, fishing what they see. Now, let me preface this by saying, that's not always a mistake. I spend a ton of time shallow in the summer. I get on amazing topwater bites. I get on amazing soft jerkbait bites. The little karashi, one of my favorite things to do. We do all that shallow. We do it around cover. It works. And it works all summer. And on a lot of fisheries, there are bass that will stay shallow all the way through to fall. So I'm not saying that you won't catch fish. That is what led you into the mistake, is that to some degree, it's working. So it's very easy to forget that the majority of the fish, they're out there behind you. If you're looking at the bank, they're behind you. Fishing visual cover solely, only visual cover, in the summertime is a major mistake, and probably the biggest mistake that I see anglers make. By now, the second you're watching this, your lake has offshore fish, period. Now, knowing where they are, that's a little more complicated, right? That's where you need some electronics to come into play. Sort of. That doesn't necessarily mean big, expensive electronics. If you've got them, makes all the difference in the world, right? I've got 2 Humminbird Apex 13s up there. One of the best pieces of electronics equipment ever designed. It is incredible what those things are capable of. The mapping options, my ability to see what is out around the boat. It's incredible what I can do with that stuff to find fish away from the bank, fish that I can't see visually. But you can also do it just with your phone. Pull your phone out of your pocket. Google Maps. That will help you. When you're at home, the desktop version, Google Earth, not Google Maps, Google Earth. Tim has done an entire video on how to peel back the layers on Google Earth so you can see your lake through the past. If your lake has ever had low water, if you're on a reservoir and it goes up and down, it's high today, you can get on Google Earth, peel it back to a day when it was low, and you can see all the rock piles. You can see the humps. You can tell where everything is. It's amazing. In the video description, I will link everything we're talking about today. I'll link the baits and all this stuff. I'll give you my favorite colors for each one. I'll also link Tim's video about how to do that with Google Earth, because that is such critical information. When we're traveling, we use that a lot to take a look at a lake at different times of year to see if there's anything major that stands out. But all you need to know is that, hey, over there in the middle of that bay, there's a hump out there in the middle and I can't see it. Now you drive out there, start fishing around, you find it. Now you're catching fish that not everybody else is fishing for. Mapping. If you do have modern electronics on your boat, I talk about this like once a year, maybe. This is Lake Master Premium, okay? The VX Premium, for me, because it's different for everybody, depends on your fishing style, but I'm telling you flat out, for me, this is the biggest electronics advancement in my lifetime, was when this mapping became available on my boat. Other people, you know, there's a war around forward-facing sonar. Other people, it was side imaging. Back when Kentucky Lake first got side imaging, if you didn't have it, you were done, right? There have been these advancements in electronics, all these different things. When 360 came out, that was huge. Each one of these advancements is a major deal. But in my fishing, especially with the way that I personally travel, the vast majority of videos that you watch of Tim and I are on brand new lakes we've never been to. Because we're traveling all the time and we're exploring all the time. So you have no idea that what you're actually seeing at least 80% of the time is a new lake breakdown. We just don't even talk about it. So we're not going back to places we know and catching piles of fish. That's not what we're doing. We're exploring. That would be impossible without premium mapping. This gives me the ability to not wreck my boat 3 days a week when I'm out traveling. Every time I pull up to a new lake, if you do that blind, it's a matter of time before I take the lower unit off that Yamaha, right? I'm going to ground that thing. But with quality mapping that I can trust all over the country, it's incredible. So not only am I safer in my navigation, which is why it's so important to me personally, I need to navigate safely every time I show up to a new place, but I can also instantly identify offshore structures. I can jump on this stuff. I go out on the end of a main lake point, right where it rolls off at the end, I start catching fish. Out there where it's not visual. I get on my map, zoom out, and I look for anything nearby that looks similar. Go to another one, repeat. It would have taken me 6 months without a map, just blank fishing down the shore to find these places that are similar. Now I just zoom out a map and just look, run to the next one. If it doesn't work, okay, it wasn't a pattern, let's try something else. But if it works again, I run to the next one. If it works a third time, game on. Zoom out, look at the whole lake, find all the ones that look like that, and then pick the very best ones, and you've already got your pattern on a brand new lake you've never been to. Now, I just gave you the cheat code to how I bass fish. Like, I do that daily. I am a pattern builder, not a spot fisherman. What I mean is I couldn't care less about history. When I pull up to a boat ramp, even if it's somewhere I've been a bunch, I don't care about the places I've caught them in the past. I care about the first few bites I get today and what sort of structures they were on. And then I repeat. I talk all the time, build patterns, build patterns, build patterns. You just heard what I mean. I am identifying specific locations and then a bait, and then I'm repeating a pattern throughout the lake. That's how I succeed on a daily basis. That's what I do. Now, if you are going to fish offshore, you can do it with all sorts of things. When you stop fishing visual cover, it gets a little harder to throw some of the normal stuff. Some of the highlight baits, some of the things I have tons of confidence in right now. I've got 3 baits. That right there, the wobblehead jig. We just did a whole dedicated video on the wobblehead. You guys know what this is about. If you don't and you missed it, you know what? I'll link that video in the description too, because it's a major deal. This is my #1 giant fish catcher in this color this time of year for about another month. So much confidence in this thing, and I can fish it fast to cover water and build a pattern quicker. The next one is the burrito. This specifically, the 5-inch burrito, that color is called Tactical Shad. I love this bait, and I love it in this color. This time of year, offshore fish, out on humps, ledge fishing, any fish that get out there on the outside, this is one of the main baits I throw. It's a big swim bait. It gets big bites, but it's not that big. I don't need a dedicated swim bait rod for this. I'm throwing it on a heavy jig rod, a big worm rod, and you just get those bigger fish. It is a very fishy bait. It catches them. And then my last one is the 5-inch stroll shad. It's a Hog Farmer stroll shad. This is a Dirty Jigs HD guppy head. It's a 2-aught heavy duty. That allows me, the guppy head is an incredible head, but in summertime, warm water bass are at their strongest and they will own you. If you hook a giant out on a summertime ledge in the current on a little tiny 1-aught guppy and you're not prepared, they're gonna get the better of you. But that HD guppy, that 2-aught heavy duty, paired to that 5-inch stroll shad is one of those baits that just has it. The it factor, that magical something. The bass just eat it more often than not. I have so much confidence in this bait as well as those. Those three represent the core of my confidence if I'm gambling offshore in early to mid-summer. So that's the second mistake. First mistake was only fishing in the daylight and just battling that traffic head on. Second mistake, only fishing visual cover. We know how to fix that one now. The third mistake is sticking to your confidence baits. And I'm not gonna give you some big list of baits that should be new confidence baits for you. That's not what I wanna do here. I said I've got a twist for the guy who doesn't have much room, right? The bank fisherman, the guy getting on somebody else's boat, the co-angler. I've got a twist on this for you, but only fishing confidence baits is a mistake. A lot of fish are willing to bite in summer. They group up, their metabolisms are really high. In spring, all those fish are dirt shallow. They're really, really easy to catch relative to the rest of the year. By summer, some are shallow, a lot are deeper, but the beauty of it is that they'll bunch up. They'll school up, they'll group up. When you get around them, you can really get them going. But a lot of times it will take multiple baits to keep a group going. Meaning if I'm blasting them on an underspin, fish after fish after fish after fish after fish, which I do a lot this time of year, when that bite starts to end, most people will leave. Their confidence bait is done, bite's over, let's go. I don't do that. I start cycling through my other options, trying to get those fish biting again. Don't just take that confidence bait and fish with it. Remember to mix it up with multiple baits and with baits that you haven't caught them on before, because this is a time of year where you can discover a new confidence bait. But here's the simple thing that I wanted to twist this into for you. For the guy who's on the shore, the reason why most shore-bound anglers, whether you're fishing ponds, lakes, creeks, it doesn't matter. Whether you're on a little John boat, whether you're not that shore-bound guy at all, but you are riding on a buddy's back deck, you can only bring one bag. The main reason that all of those guys, and I say that because I've been all of those guys. I've been on the shore, I've fished exclusively out of a float tube, a kayak, a tin boat, bigger tin boat, an actual aluminum boat, long before I ever got into a bass boat. I've done all the things. We still do them regularly. The biggest issue is space, especially for the shore-bound angler. When it's on your back. Now, if you've got a backpack, you can carry a lot more gear than the guy who's just got a rod and a pocket, right? When you've got to cram your baits and your hooks and your stuff in your pocket, it's tough. When I was a kid, I walked the shore every single day. I really did. Now, I was trout fishing, not bass fishing. I grew up in the mountains. But I would take, this is like the dumbest thing, but I didn't know this as a little kid. I used to take actual lead split shot and stick it in my bottom lip because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. That's how I carried my spare gear. What's your excuse? Who knows what sort of problems I'm gonna have later in life from all the lead I stuffed in my lip. But I really would. I would carry my spare weights in my lip so that I could catch more trout and I didn't have to walk home because I had nowhere else to put the stuff. Ridiculous. So dumb, but that's what kids do. Let's bring it back. You have limited space, so most people will just take their best option. I want to point something out for you. These are 4 major categories, okay? The mistake that I see is that the shore-bound angler sticks to that confidence bait because of a lack of space. You don't want to have to carry a bunch of gear. 3/0 hook. Okay, this is an all-purpose bait hook. You get a 3/0 or a 4/0 of that all-purpose bait hook right there. That is a simple hook. They're affordable. You get a bunch in a pack. They work. I've used these things forever. That hook right there in a 3/0. Let's set that down. So now you're bringing one hook with you, okay? If you put a weight on that line, you're fishing your creature bait totally effectively. I don't care if it's a lead weight, a tungsten weight, a brass weight. I don't care. You can fish that creature on that 3/0 totally effectively. And for a lot of people walking shore, that's the setup, right? Texas rig creature bait. You're going down the bank going. You're good to go. Here's what I want to point out. 3 completely different categories. The soft jerk bait. Specifically, this is the 6-inch whiplash shad. This bait is so soft. A 4/0 is an ideal hook, but the bait is so soft that it collapses beautifully. So a 3/0 will work too. So you could take one pack of baits. You could have a couple creatures in there, throw a couple of whiplash shad in there. Now you're fishing a Texas rig. You can clip it, pull the weight off, put the same hook back on. You can throw a soft jerk bait too. Cover water in those shallows. Chase active fish. If they come up schooling, you can throw that to them. Same hook. Take the soft jerk bait on. 5-inch Senko. We all know the value of a Senko. That's everybody's confidence bait. Same hook. Take a couple stick baits with you. One more, the Bomba by Missile. The Bomba is in that poop bait category. You guys remember that? Absolute trend a couple of years ago. Poop baits, gravity baits, whatever you want to call them. Fast sinking baits. Still weightless like a Senko, but that's where all the similarities stop. This particular one, the Bomba, fishes excellent on that same 3/0 hook. So you can just grab one pack of baits, stick a couple of each one in there, throw in one spare hook, put one on your line, and now you're not restricted to a confidence bait. You can adapt to every situation. See, a Senko's magic is on the fall. Once it's down, it's about over. A Bomba's magic is the reverse. They get down quick, but then you pop them up and they dart, and then they fall again. So the Senko catches them with the slow fall. A Bomba catches them with the snap up. The soft jerk bait is all about working the water column. And the creature bait, of course, is for dragging or working or popping around cover. You're covering all your bases, everything that you can reach along the bank, all of it out of one bag with one spare hook. Don't let limited space limit your fishing this summer. You can adapt very easily if you know which baits and which hook you can pair together. It goes a long way. Guys, these are common mistakes that we all make. I recognize these mistakes by having already lived these mistakes and living them today. Night fishing is the one that gets me. I get so tired that I'm like, oh, well, we'll go on a few more days. Oh, we'll go next weekend, right? You keep pushing it back and all of a sudden you miss it. You got to get out there. Go fishing while the fishing is good and have a blast. Again, I'll link all this stuff in the video description along with those couple of related videos. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.